Hello there, Internet. Wow, what can I say? We're a week past our E3 season, and I think I've only just come to terms with everything that got unveiled. And one question that keeps sticking in my mind right now is, could we be entering a new golden era for Square Enix? Part of the new 3-year plan introduced by CEO Takeishi Kiryu, their current midterm objective is to release a string of high-quality titles over the next few years. And gee, based on what we know so far, that calendar is looking absolutely stacked. So let's have a look at what's on the horizon. Some of this stuff is incoming real soon. Launching later this week is the Adventures of Elliot, the Millennium Tales. Now, unless you're a Nintendo Direct regular or a Square Enix mega fan, there's probably a high chance you might not even heard of this one, so it feels like the marketing for it is being, well, non-existent. Which is a real shame, as this title has all the hallmarks of a potential classic. I won't dive into it too much here, as I'll have a separate video coming real soon on this one, but if you're a fan of HD 2D titles, classic Legend of Zelda style adventures with a Chrono Trigger-esque wrapper, be sure to check this out when it launches on June 18th. There's even a free demo available right now. Coming on October 22nd this year, it's a title that very few people probably saw coming, Final Fantasy Resonance. Based off the long-shot and mobile game, Final Fantasy Brave Exvius, this is the first HD 2D Final Fantasy game. That's an interesting note already, is how much Square Enix are stressing that this is the first HD 2D Final Fantasy. The implication there being that there's going to be more than one, which is good news already. Brave Exvius was a gacha mobile game set in the Final Fantasy mythology, with its own storyline spanning across multiple seasons. Now, the gacha aside, the game was actually incredibly fun to play. It had a compelling story. That's probably why it's one of Square Enix's longest-running mobile titles before it was ultimately shut down, just shy of a decade after its release. Final Fantasy Resonance is effectively going to be the spiritual successor to Brave Exvius. It takes the story of Season 1 of Brave Exvius and reworks it completely, rewriting the dialogue, shifting some of the plot moments around, revamping the world map, and generally adapting the gameplay to be a fully fledged console experience with none of the gacha mechanics. Now, much like Adventures of Elliot, we'll be diving deeper into Final Fantasy Resonance in a later video, but this core concept is a very exciting one. Both Brave Exvius and its tactics-adjacent War Divisions had great storylines, and reviving these shuttered mobile games in HD 2D seems like a very cost-effective way delivering a more classic Final Fantasy experience to fans. And it's also a way of giving fans an FF fix in between the mainline numbered releases. So hopefully this is the first of several to come, but I know that a lot of people are hoping that this means the likes of Final Fantasy Record Keeper, and maybe even Mobius, are on the horizon as well. Now, rounding off 2026 is the latest entry in the Dragon Quest Monsters franchise, Dragon Quest Monsters: The Withered World. For those uninitiated with the Dragon Quest Monsters series, the simplest way of describing it would be Pokemon meets Dragon Quest. This would be doing it a disservice though, as some of the Monsters titles have been standouts in their own right. The Withered World sees us play as dual protagonists, Bianca and Nera, both from Dragon Quest V fame, as they embark on a journey through the Withered Wood to bring life back to it by capturing, training and breeding monsters. Now, unlike traditional Dragon Quest games, our protagonists don't actually do the combat themselves, and instead rely on the monsters they've been capturing and training to embark on combat for them. Dragon Quest Monsters: The Withered World releases this December on December 3rd. So it's been nearly 13 years since Final Fantasy XIV was relaunched following its utterly dismal original version. Evercold, the next expansion, could be shaping up to be just as pivotal a moment in Final Fantasy XIV's history. Long-term 14 players have become increasingly fatigued with the formulaic design of the game, and MMORPGs in general are struggling to both attract and retain new players. Couple this with Dawn Trail, 14's most recent expansion, not really landing as well on all fronts, and it's been a tough couple of years for Final Fantasy XIV. Clearly though, Creative Studio 3 have recognised this, as the post-Dawn Trail made scenario content has generally been well received, as has all the new raid content that's been introduced. And some of the more recent encounters especially are definitely demonstrating that Creative Studio 3 are experimenting a lot more than they have done in the past. The fruits of these labours are set to blossom with Evercold, which is radically overhauling both the job design and core progression systems of 14 for the first time in nearly a decade. Considering for the vast majority of the past decade, Final Fantasy XIV has been one of, if not the, biggest breadwinners for Square Enix, they're taking a pretty big gamble by overhauling it in such a way, even though for some people they're not going quite as far as they would have liked. But if these changes land well, it could be the reinvigoration that 14 needs and set it up for another decade ahead. We'll be learning more about Evercold at the upcoming FF14 FanFest in Berlin next month, and Evercold itself is currently slated for a January 2027 release. I'll be posting my own thoughts after the Berlin event, so if you don't want to miss any of my probably decidedly cold takes, consider subscribing. So do I really need to say anything about Final Fantasy VII Revelation? I mean, do I really? It speaks for itself. But well, for the sake of the video, I guess I have to say something. The final part of the Final Fantasy VII Remake series should be landing sometime early next year in spring 2027. We'll finally be getting our answers, or should that be revelations, to all the burning questions we've had since the end of Final Fantasy VII Remake. The game is shaping up to be massive, and based on the amount of yapping that Hamaguchi has already been doing in interviews since Summer Game Fest, the team are going big for the finale. What we really have to consider is, despite all of this yapping, they've likely only shown us about 10% of the game. Though it probably comes as no surprise that Final Fantasy VII Revelation, that is my most anticipated title for 2027, going to revise my prediction of a February 4th release date, considering that would technically still be winter, but instead go for a March 25th, 2027 release date, which lands just at the beginning of astronomical spring and a few weeks into meteorological spring. Now also, as much as Hamaguchi has been stressing that the team's current focus is on delivering Revelation, providing a satisfying ending to the remake series, he has also acknowledged the requests from fans for additional content and stories set within the 7 universe, and encourages fans to make their desires heard, which to me at least implies that there's a high chance that we could be seeing some post-Revelation DLC later in 2027. Now I'm going to come out and make a really wild prediction here and say that we're also going to see Kingdom Hearts 4 released in 2027. Now this is a pure vibe speculation, I won't lie, but there has to be a reason why Square Enix are essentially re-releasing the Kingdom Hearts all-in-one package with the Rewind DLC this October. They want people to play these games and have them fresh in mind, which all suggests that Kingdom Hearts 4 is probably a lot closer than we think. Well, I mean, relatively speaking, of course. It has already been nearly 4 whole years since it was initially revealed, so it's been quite a long time. But going back to the opening of this video, Square Enix are truly shifting to a model of releasing high quality titles on a consistent basis starting with 2027. The Kingdom Hearts 4 landing anywhere from summer to winter 2027 would make a lot of sense within that goal. Also, we have to consider that generally Square Enix seems to be shifting more to an approach of announcing titles and then releasing them within an 8 to 14 month window of the announcement. In a world where there's an ever-increasing number of things vying for people's attention, I just can't fathom why they'd have chosen now, of all times, to re-reveal Kingdom Hearts 4 if it wasn't, within a year or so at most. So there, much like I said in my predictions video that Kingdom Hearts 4 would show up during not E3 season, going to keep their clown makeup on and say that Kingdom Hearts 4 will release in 2027. Now, Dragon Quest XII Beyond Dreams is the current mystery outlier for me. Dragon Quest XII was originally announced way back in 2021 as Dragon Quest The Flames of Fate, but during the recent Dragon Quest 40th anniversary celebration, it was revealed that Dragon Quest XII had been completely restarted from scratch. The Flames of Fate was originally envisioned to be a much darker and mature title, but the fact that they've gone through and restarted it from scratch, one would kind of speculate that they looked at what happened with Final Fantasy XVI failing to create the impact Square Enix wanted, and also considering the breakout success of the Dragon Quest 1 and 3 HD 2D remakes, selling well over 4 million copies, they probably saw the writing on the wall and realised that Dragon Quest fans know what they want and want more of it, which is why they've gone back to the drawing board with Dragon Quest XII and decided to do more of what the beloved series does well. In the same 40th anniversary celebration, game designer Yosuke Sato mentioned that it's going to be, quote-unquote, a bit longer before Dragon Quest XII is in our hands. Now, considering Dragon Quest XII was released, it's already been a heck of a long time. However, I feel based on the remarks that the game has been completely restarted, my gut feeling says that Dragon Quest XII won't release until 2028, which means there's likely a high chance we might see another remake or reimagining of an earlier Dragon Quest title. So starting next week we have the Adventures of Elliot, followed closely by Kingdom Hearts and Final Fantasy Resonance in October, Dragon Quest Monsters The Withering World in December, Final Fantasy XIV Evercold in January, Final Fantasy VII Revelation in spring, Kingdom Hearts 4 hopefully later in 2027, and Dragon Quest XII sometime in 2028. Now let's be honest, that is an absolutely stacked 12 to 24 months. Of course it's too early to say if this will truly be the next golden era, as we can't really say that until we've played all of these titles for ourselves, but it's certainly shaping up to be one. And one also has to speculate that the likes of Final Fantasy XVII are also well into development at this point, along with more HD 2D titles to fill in the gaps between the AAA titles. I mean, let's be honest, there's one front Square Enix have been crushing it on, it's the HD 2D front. So the stars are all aligning to set this up to be Square Enix's next golden era. It also makes me wonder, could the long-rumoured Final Fantasy IX remake also fall into this somewhere? It's just out of sight on the horizon somewhere. Here's hoping. So there we have it. There's really exciting times ahead, and a lot of games for me to potentially cover, but certainly play. So what about you? Are you excited and optimistic for the future of Square Enix? Or have you been burned a bit in the past and instead going to cautiously wait and see? If you are excited, which title is your most anticipated? Get down into those comments and let me know. With that, I'll see you in the next video. Okay, bye!